It's Lori and Kev welcoming in studio. He's publisher of Music Street Journal and author of Spooky Rockford, Creepy Tales of the Greater Forest City Area. Let's welcome Gary Hale to the Morning X. Welcome, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Well, Gary, glad to have you on board here and to talk about this. But let me start this off by saying you strike me as someone who grew up as a monster kid. Am I way off base there?
Oh, no, you're right on.
You like the old monster movies,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Draculas, the Wolfman, things like that?
Oh, yeah.
For
Still
sure.
watch Svengoolie every weekend.
See, there you go. And that's super local to this area.
Absolutely.
Chicago, Rockford, Svengoolie. If you live around here, you've seen him. It's Rich Coe is the name of that
Yep.
broadcaster, actually. Yeah, nice dude. But so tell us about the book here, Spooky Rockford.
Well, we just decided to collect a bunch of different stories about spooky things that have gone on in the Rockford area, ranging as far out as Bachelor's Grove near Chicago. And there are a lot of other local ones. And then there are a couple photo galleries in there, Bachelor Grove Cemetery and one at Blood's Point Cemetery.
Okay, so I saw something in here about the strange lights of Rockford. Can you tell me a little bit about that story?
Okay, there have been a lot of UFO stories over the years here, and so I looked up all the information and got all the relevant dates and stuff, and I used some other first-person accounts and changed all the names. I changed a few little facts, just fudged a few things, but for the most part, all the facts in that story are accurate, except for the ending, which is completely fictional.
So, aliens? Can we assume aliens? Because I love aliens. I love UFOs. These are all things I want to know about, Gary. Tell me more.
That's what the story assumes, but I don't know. I do know that it was covered on Channel 23 News way back when there were a lot of these.
Yeah.
events. I saw a few of the sightings and that. So there have been. If you look it up, I think the Rockford area is one of the big hot spots for UFOs.
They're looking for me, Kev.
You don't understand. Lori has this weird obsession with space, but it's not just like, the astronomy or astrology or anything like that. She truly believes that aliens want her, like specifically.
Yeah, I do. They want to abduct me, study me, science research. Maybe I'll be the one that paves the way to new communication with them. We'll be best friends. I believe this truly with all my heart. So if there's a lot of sightings in Rockford, that's probably why they're coming to get me.
You yourself find yourself wanting to believe?
I just think it's fun. Whether you believe or not, it's fun.
Right, that's the thing I like to go on. It's fun to believe, whether or not it's like a ridiculous idea, which aliens maybe not so much, but things like ghosts and things like that, it's fun to believe,
right?
Even though scientifically it's never really been proven, right? So
right.
What would you consider from all the stories you've gathered, all the people you've talked to, the most haunted place in Rockford?
It's probably the Coronado or maybe Tinker Swiss Cottage.
Wow.
Yeah, we actually talked to the filmmaker who made the documentary about Tinker Swiss Cottage, and there's lots of first-hand accounts in that movie as well. I've heard that come up a couple of times. Never heard about the Coronado.
Oh, there are lots of stories about the Coronado, and in fact, I actually went there with some guys who ran the place for a while. We went there off hours, and it was just cool to be in there, but they had all kinds of stories, and I talked about some of that in the one story in there.
It wouldn't surprise me that a theater would be a place to be haunted, because as a performer myself, I know we are tortured souls. We would come back.
There you go.
We would come back and,
Of course
and
you would.
haunt the theater. Yeah, we would.
What I thought was really cool is I was thumbing through the book. You had some stories about Bachelor's Grove. You had one about Resurrection Mary. Resurrection Cemetery. If you don't know the story, if you don't know the story, it's about a woman who got in the backseat of a car to get a ride back home, and then the couple turned around and looked, and she was missing, and she was gone. And it's a story that I've known. I've been to Resurrection Cemetery many times, but one fact I didn't know is she was heading back to Rockford.
I didn't write that one, so I can't really...
It was crazy. It's in the book, yeah.
Yeah. Kathy Kressel wrote that story.
Yeah, it was very, very entertaining. I read it right before we came on the air, but I had no idea.
That's spooky.
Yeah, it is spooky.
So you're not just a writer of Spooky Rockford. You got a bunch of books here. You brought us a whole stack to thumb through, and it looks like you got a huge body of work here. A lot of short stories, a lot of nonfiction articles. You actually, the Rockford, Illinois Beat Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was when there was the website around beatcafe.com, and it was run by Greg Johnson, and I wrote a lot of articles for him over the years. And so now that the site doesn't have the articles anymore, so I collected them all in a book and published them. And what's kind of cool about that is you got a lot of things about restaurants and businesses that aren't around anymore. So it's kind of cool to look at and remember.
Kind of a commercial history of Rockford.
Yeah, I mean, there are some haunting stories in there too. There's stuff about a lot of musicians that came around, some concert reviews from the area, and things like that.
So that's a great history right in that
Absolutely.
book right there. Absolutely. So if we're looking for your body of work to buy it, to check it out of a library, where can we find it?
Lulu.com/strange sounds the best place because the prices are lower there than anywhere else. You can also get most of the stuff at Amazon. And I'll have a ton of books at the book signing at Katie's Cup on September 22nd.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, Gary, we'd love to talk to you for hours and on hours and hours. We could even do a whole podcast on you if we wanted to.
Yeah, we really could.
We appreciate you stopping by, and we'll definitely be plugging these books. And thanks so much for. Well, let's try that again. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gary. This is so cool.
This is fun.
And I'll put all these links up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/TheXRockford.
Again, the book is Spooky Rockford, Creepy Tales in the Greater Forest City Area, edited by Gary Hill. Just in time for Halloween. It's 104.9 The Morning X.